What a view! This is incredible. An Ontario County nonprofit. Onboard Horizon high-altitude balloons.
3, 2, 1, launch.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Tori here from Overlook Horizon. I feel like it has been absolutely forever since we've done one of these live streams, but we're back. We're finally back in action here. You're going to see another SpaceX launch. We haven't had a SpaceX launch in months now, at least a Falcon 9 launch. I mean, it's been months since we had our Starhopper launch as well, but it's been forever since we've had a Falcon 9 launch, and we're finally getting back to it here with a Starlink launch this morning. So this is SpaceX's basically private version of their own internet service that they're going to provide to the world here, and they launched. Give it a little bit of history here. So they launched 2 satellites. I forget what the date was. Didn't actually pull this up. But they launched 2 satellites. They tested those out. Then they launched 60 satellites earlier this year. Those were also a little bit of a test for them as well, but those are mostly operational. And now they're launching another 60 today. These are kind of the version 1 satellites that they're launching up with a couple of improvements from the first 60 that they launched a couple of months ago. So these have, they didn't spell out all the upgrades that they've done to the satellites for this time around, but they did say that they did do some upgrades to the actual, having increased spectrum for the Ka and Ku bands that they use to communicate with. So presumably that would be better speed, better bandwidth, things like that. These do not have satellite-to-satellite communications yet. That's coming later next year, I think the plan is for that. But that's what we're launching here today. So another 60 to go. So thanks everybody for joining in here. I feel like we've missed each other. Or at least I've missed you guys. Hopefully you guys missed me too. I don't know. But anyway, so I see a whole bunch of people over on our all of our channels here. So we're multi-streaming on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, and over on the Twitch. A bunch of our regulars. I see Gregorius, our moderator, Sebi, our moderator, Ethan, Tarani, hello to everybody. Let's see. Oh yeah, we've got Trip and Fool mentioned the Mercury transit across the sun, which is going on right now. Actually, I don't know how long that lasts for, but it started like almost 2 hours ago. Mercury transit. So if you got a solar filter, or if you've got some solar eclipse glasses, you can go take a look at the Mercury transit. It's transiting across the sun from our perspective there, so you'd see that little tiny black dot go across the sun. So that's also happening here today. Let's see, what's everybody else here got to say this morning before we jump too far into it? What time is the rocket launch? So we are looking at 9:56 a.m. Eastern time, which is in about 32 minutes. This is a rough countdown. This is my countdown, just to give you a rough idea on how long we've got until launch. Probably not exact to the second, but it's pretty close. Should be to the minute at least. The official stream, I see some people talking about the official stream. So SpaceX will start their official stream. We'll pull that up here so that you guys can all see that as well. We'll all watch it together. The official stream should start around 9:40, so that'll be in about 15 minutes from now. So we got about 15 minutes to chat it up, and then we'll listen into the SpaceX stream. But everything is looking great for this morning. Weather is looking great. No, I have not heard of any issues with upper level winds or wind shear or anything like that. So I think we are in good shape for an on-time launch, as long as everything goes well with the actual satellite and the rocket itself, obviously. Now this rocket, we got a whole bunch of things happening here today. The rocket here is actually historic as well, because this booster, the first stage booster, this is going to be the 4th time this booster has flown. This is going to break a record for the most reuses here. This is going to be number 4 for this booster. It's previously supported 3 other missions. And also the payload fairing that is protecting those satellites is going to be reused as well. First time they've ever reused this payload fairing This was previously flown on the Falcon Heavy flight for Arabsat 6A back in the springtime. They did not catch this fairing in the net with their boats. It actually soft landed in the water. They pulled it out of the water, and they're still reusing it today. That does also a little bit of a disappointment here today. We were going to kind of jump into this a little bit later, but a little bit of a disappointment, some last-minute developments, but it looks like they will not be performing a payload fairing recovery today, even though they had planned it. The ships went out to sea. They got all the way out there, and then all of a sudden they made a quick detour over to what is it, like Moore City, North Carolina? I think, is it North Carolina or South Carolina? But they broke away, and so they're not out there anymore. So no payload fairing recovery today. Something presumably went wrong with maybe the ships or something. They did have rough seas on Saturday on their way out there, and we had seen with what was previously Mr. Steven during that period between when it was Mr. Steven and it switched over to Gomez Tree. They had a little bit of issue with rough seas and the arms breaking, so maybe the rough seas on Saturday had something to do with this. Not sure. Nobody's really sure exactly what happened there yet. All they know is that the ships are no longer at the recovery site and they have left, so probably no payload fairing recovery today. Be interesting to see if they say something about it, because if you looked in the, I don't know how many of you guys look at the SpaceX press kit that they put out. They always put out a PDF that's usually 1 or 2 pages. But the press kit actually specifically said they were going to perform a payload fairing recovery catch, which a lot of times they don't even mention. They're like, this is kind of experimental, so we're not even going to mention it. Like, it's happening, but we're not going to tell you it's happening. And pretty much all the SpaceX fans know that it's happening, but a lot of times they don't mention it in the press kit. This time they did mention it in the press kit, and now it's not actually happening. So it'll be interesting to see if they address that during the actual webcast today. So let's see. No payload fairing recovery today. Clear skies in South Florida, says Seahawk over on the Periscope. Heavy snow in Chicago, no chance to view the transit. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm in the same boat here as well. You've probably got the heavy snow that's coming to us later today. So we're supposed to get like 9 to 12 inches of snow here where I live today. Later today, has not started yet. That's kind of a little bit of a dusting that started, but the heavy stuff is supposed to come this afternoon. We're supposed to get 9 to 12 inches of snow here in the beginning part of November. Awesome. Guess winter is here. Let's see, how much of the rocket is being reused and how much is new. So really the only thing that is new is just the interstage and the second stage. Well, not even the interstage. Just the second stage really is the only. So pretty much like 80% of this rocket is being reused. First stage is reused. It's going to be the 4th time this first stage is flown. The second stage is brand new. Obviously the satellites are brand new, and then the payload fairing is reused. So we got to reuse payload fairing, reuse first stage booster. So yeah. Let's see. Gregorius says he's got some speculation. Says one of the satellites might have an experimental propulsion. They said they expect one to fail to raise its orbit and crash and burn. Oh, I didn't see anything about that. So that'll be interesting to see if they say anything there. They did say actually in the press kit that these satellites are now 100% demisable, meaning that they will completely burn up in the atmosphere at the end of their lifetime. And the previous generations of the satellite, I'm not going to remember exactly what this is, but the previous generation of the satellites had something which it was part of the propulsion system, which is probably where some of the speculation comes from, but there was something in the propulsion system that could theoretically survive re-entry, so it wasn't 100% demisable on re-entry. They'd still have to re-enter, they'd be forced to re-enter over the ocean. Obviously, it's probably best practice to re-enter over the ocean anyways, but they would have been forced to re-enter over the ocean because there was something, somebody will have to look this up and tell me what it is, but something as part of the propulsion system on the previous generation of satellites could survive re-entry. And now in the press kit, they've said that these are 100% demisable, which which kind of implicitly means that they've changed something there, and obviously maybe that's probably where some of that speculation is, that they have an experimental propulsion system of some sort. So let's see, what do you think of the low number of flights this year? It's a little bit of a disappointment, the low number of flights, but I can't say I'm too personally disappointed, just because I've had an opportunity to do a whole bunch of things myself with not just personal life stuff, but I'm sure if you're subscribed to the channel, you've seen us kind of experimenting with different video formats and things like that, and playing around. So it's been fun to play around with that kind of stuff in the meantime, and while we had this big lull of no flights happening. So we've been playing around with some video formats, so that's kind of been fun. But yeah, it is a bit of a bummer that we've had such a low number of flights this year, especially after last year where we had a huge number of flights. To go from that to this smaller number was a bit disappointing, but I think we're going to be back on track for the high frequency next year, because they're looking at launching like another 24 Starlink launches alone, in addition to customer launches in 2020. So that there's going to be a ton of launches next year if that continues, or if that comes to fruition, I guess. Did Elon do anything to the Starlinks to reduce the reflection? They didn't specifically say anything about that, but it will be interesting to see. Everybody's all geared up and ready to go. I started trying to pull this up, but I don't know if my computer will live stream and do this at the same time. But there is, if you guys aren't familiar, there is a website called flightclub.io, and they've already mapped out the where these satellites are going to be, so you can figure out where they are when they're going to be overhead for you, and see if you can actually see them. Now, if you recall from the last 60, it was kind of this beautiful train of 60 satellites that you could just see from the ground, and it was the weirdest looking thing. As you'd look up in the sky, you'd see all 60 of them just right through. I'm expecting to see that again, but Elon did say they were going to try to address it, because it made a lot of astronomers and night sky explorers unhappy, that they were polluting the night sky with those super reflective satellites. So it'll be interesting to see how different that might be once these get up there. Coffee Music says, thanks for the Space Lobster sticker you sent, by the way, if you haven't seen the mail call. Well, I appreciate that. We are going to be giving away, we're going to give away some patch today. We've got some stickers we're going to give away, and that will be after a successful launch. So hopefully if we get a successful launch, we will do some of those giveaways here after launch. So make sure you stick around after launch for some of those giveaways. Let's see. Afternoon, everyone from the UK. No snow here, just more rain. Yeah, we got a ton of snow coming. How big is each satellite? How many are up there already, and how many does Musk want total? So there's been a lot of numbers thrown around, but as far as how many are up there right now, there are just 60. I think the original two, there were two originally, and then they added 60 to them. I think the original two have already deorbited. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they're somewhere between 60. It's either 60 or 62. But they're adding another 60 today, and what their goal is, I think they need like 800 satellites just to be partially operational and actually start offering the service. So they got a lot to go before they can even offer the service. I think they will be fully operational when they reach 4,000 to 5,000 satellites. And the full goal is somewhere around like 12,000 satellites. So there are a lot of satellites that are going to be up there. But the big thing everybody freaks out about is they're like, oh my goodness, there's 12,000 satellites, and how are we going to manage all those? They're going to be crashing into each other. They're going to be all over the place. Don't forget, the sky is really huge. And we've got thousands of planes in the air at any given moment, especially during busy times of the day. And you look up in the sky, and it's not like you're seeing traffic congestion and like just planes that are barely missing each other left and right. I mean, the sky is really, really big. Not to mention, planes fly at a pretty narrow corridor during their while they're flying around. Low Earth orbit, there's miles and miles of space vertically that they can space out within, not just the Starlink satellites, but other satellite providers. So there's lots of space up there. So I'm not too concerned about all these 12,000 satellites that they will have up there. It does seem like a lot, and I think the bigger issue is going to be, there will be a little bit of collision avoidance that they'll have to do, and it's going to open up, it will be gradual, but it will have to open up communication lines so that providers can communicate with each other and move each other out of the way. Now, the Starlink satellites have kind of a unique feature where they actually receive data from the military's collision detection systems, and they will actually move themselves out of the way if there's a collision. But a lot of other satellite providers don't have that, so they might freak out a little bit if they're like, hey, you might collide with one of these Starlink satellites, and they're like, oh, what should we do? They gotta have a communication channel, which SpaceX already had a little bit of an issue with that. Last time around, they had a collision detection, and there was some miscommunication on who was going to move or what the situation was, and of course, it got a lot of press, but hopefully they've resolved that now as well. The SpaceX stream is starting. I haven't even gotten to any of the stuff that I was going to show. Well, let's see. We'll quickly take a look here, and then we'll cut over to the SpaceX stream because they are starting up here. So what I was going to show here, I'm actually even on the wrong screen. Let's see, where is my stuff? I want to show. Let's see, we want this one. This is the one I was going to show you. So this is what we're looking at for launch. This is the launch hazards map that's put together by a guy named Raul. He's got a Twitter account, so definitely give him a follow because he spends a ton of time putting these together, which is awesome to see. But we're launching from Cape Canaveral, Florida today, from Launch Pad 40. And we are heading basically to the northeast here. And this is your recovery area here, this orange section here. So the autonomous spaceport drone ship, of course, I Still Love You, is this blue, the blue pin right here, and they will be landing that first stage booster way out at sea, and potentially going to fly it a fifth time. How crazy would that be? Man, we're getting up there. And then the green pin was supposed to be where the payload fairing recovery was going to be, but that is no longer happening. So we are not going to have a payload fairing recovery today. Something happened with the recovery ships, and they had to peel off at the last minute, like this morning, just a couple of hours ago. They had to peel off. And I was looking at, in case you don't follow them already, I was looking at, let's see, we'll go back over to here. Looking at the Twitter account for the SpaceX fleet here, and they had picked it up on the ship tracking system. The payload fairing recovery ships, Go Miss Tree and Go Miss Chief, were out here at the recovery zone, and then all of a sudden they peeled off and they went to Morehead City, North Carolina here, and that's where they're currently docked. So no payload fairing recovery today. Not sure what happened there, but thanks to SpaceX fleet for picking that up for us so that we could at least kind of know what's going on. Let's see, if they've flown a booster 10 times, I'm opening champagne. I know how that would be pretty awesome if we get to 10 times. I think getting to 5 times is pretty awesome. Let's see. Oh, a couple people talking about Team Trees. Yeah, well, thanks for supporting Team Trees, or at least bringing it up here. Yeah, Team Trees, in case you're not aware, did a video about it. You check our YouTube channel, watch the video on it. But we're trying, part of a huge group of YouTubers trying to raise $20 million to plant 20 million trees before January 1st, 2020. And we're already at, I think the website is at like 14.7 or 14.8 million. And then there's also a fundraiser happening on YouTube where they're collecting funds, and that's at like $3 million. So all together combined, they're at almost $18 million, and there's still 2 months to go. So we just have to raise another like $2 million to get the full 20 million. So it's pretty close. So if you want to donate to the cause, it all goes to the Arbor Day Foundation. Awesome nonprofit. You go to teamtrees.org, support the cause. It's pretty awesome. Let's do it. Let's give Mother Nature a fist bump here. Anyways, are the engines overhauled after the flight, or is the effort too high? Will they be replaced by new? Yeah, so the engines are, I'm pretty much everything on there, I'm sure gets a little bit of minor refurbishing or look over before they do it. But, the engines are reused on the first stage. And so there's really not much that they have to do. The entire thing is designed, especially with the Block 5 booster upgrades, the whole thing is designed to be reflown within 24 hours. So there's not a lot that they're doing to the engines. They may give them a quick once over and just make sure that everything is the way they think that it's supposed to be. But yeah, everything's reused on that first stage. What was the website that tracks the satellites? The one that I'm talking about is called Flight Club. Flightclub.io is the website that I was talking about. That they've already done some of the tracks for. Here, pull it up. I don't have the website up, but this is the Twitter accounts for the guy that runs flightclub.io. And he's already started doing predictions for the first one or two passes where the Starlink satellites will be once they get up in the air. And so his website will have tons of information once they get up there. So yeah, definitely check that out. There's a couple of apps you can use too. I use an app, SpaceX Stream is starting. I'll look up the app that I use. We'll talk about it after launch. But I have an app that's not this one. It's on my phone. I have an Android phone. I can tell you what that one is as well. We can take a look at that too. So, but yeah, the SpaceX Stream is starting. So let's listen in here.
You are looking at a live view of the Falcon 9 as it awaits its targeted 9:56 a.m. Eastern Time launch from Cape Canaveral Station in Florida. Good morning. It's November 11th here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. My name is Lauren Lyons, and I'm an engineer on the Starlink team here at SpaceX. In honor of Veterans Day, we would like to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to all our veterans at SpaceX and to those across the country who have served. Thank you for all that you've done and all that you continue to do. Every launch is an exciting launch, but today's launch represents some particularly notable milestones for SpaceX. First, today's launch will be the first time we're reflying a Falcon 9 booster for the fourth time. This booster previously flew on Iridium 7, Salcom 1A, and PSN 6. Following today's flight, we'll be attempting to recover it for a fourth time on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, out in the Atlantic Ocean. Second, this is the first time we'll be flying a recovered fairing. This fairing previously flew on the Falcon Heavy Arabsat mission earlier this year. And last but not least, of course, we'll be launching another 60 Starlink satellites to orbit. These 60 new satellites will make Starlink one of, if not the largest satellite constellation to date. We'll talk more about these new satellites later on in the webcast. Lots of exciting stuff going on for today's mission, but let's take a closer look at Falcon 9 on the pad. Right now, we are looking at a live view of Falcon 9, our 70-meter, two-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle. The bottom two-thirds of the vehicle is the first stage, and this is what accelerates the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere to the edge of space with the help of 9 Merlin engines. Today, we're going to be flying this first stage for a fourth time and also attempting its fourth recovery on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, which is currently stationed about 340 nautical miles northeast of the Cape, off the coast of Charleston, South Carolina. Above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, and that engine ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry the Starlink satellites to an altitude of 280 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And from there, over the course of the next few weeks, the satellites will use their onboard Krypton propulsion system to move up to their operational altitude of 550 kilometers. Now, the stack of those 60 Starlink satellites is safely tucked away inside the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is that part at the very top. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we will jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. And as I mentioned earlier, we are flying our very first reuse fairing, which is super cool because this is the first time anyone that we're aware of has ever attempted to refly a fairing. And for those of you who follow us, you know we've been working towards this milestone for a while, so we're super excited to finally try it. Now, we're not going to attempt to catch the fairing halves today as originally planned because the team had some concerns about stress to the ships in high seas prior to launch, but we're planning to retrieve the halves once they splash down in the ocean. So again, there's lots of activity today, so let's check in with Jesse for a status update.
My name is Jesse Anderson, and I'm a lead manufacturing engineer here at SpaceX. All is looking good for an on-time launch of today's exciting Starlink mission. Falcon 9 rolled out to the pad with the payload last night and went vertical this morning. The chief engineer held a technical poll at T-minus 1 hour, and the launch director held a propellant load and launch go-no-go poll at T-minus 38 minutes. Falcon 9 has been loading propellant since T-minus 35 minutes, and currently our rocket-grade kerosene, or what we call RP-1, is nearly fully loaded on the first stage, and the second stage is already fully loaded. Liquid oxygen loading is currently underway on both stages. At T-minus 7 minutes, engine chill will begin. This is where we allow a small amount of the super chilled liquid oxygen to flow into the Merlin engine turbo pumps prior to the full flow of liquid oxygen into the vehicle to avoid any shocks to the system. Finally, at T-minus 4.5 minutes, the transporter erector will retract away from the rocket slightly, and that'll provide clearance for Falcon 9 to lift off of the launch pad. As for the spacecraft, the Starlink satellites remain powered down until just after separation from the second stage, which will occur roughly an hour after liftoff. If you watched our first satellite launch, then you may recall that the Starlink satellites are stacked flat on top of each other and then are released simultaneously during payload deploy, followed by orbit raising. Prior to orbit raise, SpaceX engineers will conduct data reviews to ensure the Starlink satellites are operating as intended. As we noted prior to the launch, we're keeping an eye on one of the satellites that may not orbit raise. If for any reason a satellite is not performing as expected, SpaceX will deorbit the spacecraft. The components of each satellite are fully demisable and are expected to quickly burn up in the Earth's atmosphere, a measure that exceeds all current safety standards. Once the health checkouts are complete, the satellites will then use their onboard ion thrusters powered by Krypton to propel themselves to an altitude of 350 kilometers. Now let's take a look at the weather. And it looks like we have some great weather this morning over there in Cape Canaveral. There's a very small chance of showers and some clouds with only a 20% chance of launch violation. So we will continue to monitor this all the way down to T-minus 0 to ensure that the weather remains good for launch, but it's looking great over there. The Air Force range is prepared to support today's mission. Waters are clear of any ships, and the range continues to ensure the safety of our launch. We are continuing to count down to liftoff, but if for any reason we do have to call a hold on today's launch, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow, November 12th at 9:34 a.m. Eastern Time. But at this time, all systems are go for an on-time liftoff approximately 8 minutes from now.
So for those of you who don't already know, Starlink is SpaceX's effort to bring high-speed, low-latency broadband internet to people across the globe, particularly to areas where connectivity has been unreliable, too expensive, or completely unavailable. Most satellite internet services today come from geostationary satellites, and those are single satellites that orbit the planet at about 35,000 kilometers, covering a fixed region above the Earth. Starlink is a constellation of multiple satellites that orbit the planet at about 550 kilometers and cover the entire globe. And because they're in such a low orbit, the round-trip data time between the user and the satellite, also known as latency, is much faster than with satellites that are in geostationary orbit. Additionally, each satellite performs autonomous collision avoidance maneuvers throughout its lifetime so that they don't run into each other to create space debris. This is the first constellation to have this advanced capability. In addition, each satellite is fully demisable, meaning at the end of life, the satellite's components are expected to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. Low Earth orbit satellite constellations at this scale are incredibly difficult to build, but the performance of those initial 60 satellites that we launched back in May has been very promising. In fact, just a couple weeks ago, Elon sent a tweet using the Starlink network for the first time. We still have a ways to go from tweets to 4K cat videos, but we are on our way. Our goal is to start offering service in the northern United States and Canada as soon as next year, expanding to a global constellation after an expected 24 launches. Now, the team responsible for this enormous task is largely based in Redmond, Washington. The Redmond team, along with their counterparts across the company, there they are. Look at our team. Hi, guys. The Redmond team, along with their counterparts across the company, have implemented a number of upgrades for today's mission, including doubling the number of steerable phased array broadband beams, a 400% increase in data throughput per satellite, and the inclusion of a new Ka-band antenna system. Between the satellite upgrades, the first reflight of a fairing today, and this being the first fourth flight of a Falcon 9, there's a ton of cool stuff happening on today's mission, with liftoff just a few minutes from now.
Currently 4.5 minutes from liftoff, Falcon 9 is moving into the final stages of the countdown. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. First stage should finish propellant loading at T-minus 3 minutes and second stage at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, be sure to listen in to the call out for Falcon 9 in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. The Starlink payloads continue to be healthy. The Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is still looking amazing, and the range is green for launch. So let's go listen in to the countdown.
Yeah, so things are looking good here. I like the looks of that weather, and I think we're in good shape here. A couple people asked. Somebody asked if they're going to be able to see it from Chicago. The launch, no, but the satellites will likely fly overhead. So if you got clear skies, you could probably see the satellites, assuming they have the same reflectivity that the previous generation had, which I expect that they'll still be visible. Let's see. Somebody else asked. Somebody asked if. Sebi asked if they had the laser link functionality between satellites. They do not have that yet. That's not expected until version 2 next year. And then somebody else asked how long they expect them to last. I think the Starlink satellites in general are meant to last like 10 to 15 years, but I think these first generations are likely only going to last about 5 years. Until they have to recycle them for upgraded versions. Will it be visible in Europe? Yeah, Starlink satellites, you'll have to check out flightclub.io or the app that I told you I was going to tell you about. What is it called? ISS Detector is what I use on Android. You can figure out when you're going to have an overhead pass of the satellites. So either go to flightclub.io or use the ISS Detector app for Android. I'm sure they probably have an iPhone one too, but I use Android. And you can find out when your first visible pass is going to be overhead, assuming you have clear skies. You might not be able to see the satellite train if you're unlucky. Yeah, it was really hard to see even the last time. I had a tough time seeing it. I did see it once pass overhead for me, but it was really hard to spot. I went out like 3 times to look for it in 3 different passes. I didn't see it the first 2, but I saw it the third one. So it is tough to see, but it should be possible.
Let's close down.
Let's see. 5 years or earlier, they will collide with each other or with another satellite. Well, don't forget, the Starlink satellites have automatic collision avoidance, so they shouldn't be colliding with anybody. And then you also have military organizations like in the U.S. The U.S. Space Command monitors all satellites, U.S. and non-U.S., and makes sure that satellites aren't colliding with each other. And so they notify providers, and actually on a weekly basis, there are satellite providers that are moving their satellites slightly out of their nominal orbit so that they don't have a collision, and then they move them back. And that happens every single week. We don't really realize it because it's not big news, but every single week somebody is moving their satellites to get it out of a collision area. And most of the time these collision percentages are pretty small. It's like, 1 in 10,000 chance that they might collide, or 1 in 100,000 chance that they might collide. But they're like, oh, well, we'll move our satellite just to be sure, because not only do we not want satellites colliding for commercial purposes and the fact that it would take down the service, but the U.S. government and military and other militaries around the world too, Russia, China, anybody that's in the space business doesn't want their access to space to be jeopardized by a satellite collision that spews millions of pieces around. So So I'm not too worried about satellite collisions. I think we got that pretty well covered. That's the last big liquid oxygen vent there. Always happens just under a minute and a half prior to launch. So we're still in good shape here. Would you be able to see it from New Jersey? Yeah, the satellites are pretty much going to cover just about the entire globe here. I don't know what their inclination is, but you should be able to see them. Let's see, what's their inclination?
LD is go for launch.
I don't know the inclination, but it's a pretty high inclination, I think. So should be able to pretty much see these satellites at some point anywhere in the world.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Here we go. Finally ending the drought of Falcon 9 launches. I'll be quiet now. You can watch.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. With gratitude to our veterans today and always, go USA.
Falcon 9 is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 crossing nominal.
Didn't get very loud that time.
Power and telemetry is nominal.
There we go. There's a good look at it.
We are T plus 55 seconds into launch, and we've had a on-time liftoff and a beautiful view of the Falcon 9 vehicle making its way to orbit. We are coming up in about 10 seconds here on max Q. That is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will see during ascent. We should be able to hear that call out.
Vehicle's experiencing maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out for max Q. Coming up next is a rapid succession of events, starting off with main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, followed immediately by stage separation. That's the separation of the first stage from the second stage. And then seconds after will be the lighting of our second stage engine, which we call second engine startup, or SES-1. That is coming up here in about 45 seconds.
And back engine chill.
Yeah, MECO is about 2 minutes and 33
We've got a great
seconds.
view this morning with some pretty clear blue skies, the Earth in the background. And if you're just now joining us, we are 30 seconds away from main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES-1.
So we should have cutoff here in just about 10 seconds here.
What you
We'll
see
have
on your
cutoff and
screen, you should be
separation.
able to see the stages separate. About 10 seconds here.
So two different, one from the second stage looking down, one from the first stage looking up. First stage
Go.
camera's on the left there. You're
Stage
looking into the
separation
engine
confirmed.
bay. There you go.
There, as you saw on your left screen, we had MECO and stage separation. On your right screen, we should see that second engine startup.
There you go. Then we're gonna get a
And
landing.
there's that second stage engine glowing bright red. Coming up next in about 30 seconds is fairing deployment. Now a reminder, this fairing is being flown for a second time, which is a first in SpaceX history. And what you can see on your screen on the left screen, those grid fins have been deployed.
And that booster is pretty much the fairing separation.
And there is our fairing
Separation
deployment.
confirmed.
This is the first reflight of our fairings, so such an exciting mission this morning already.
It is pretty exciting because at this point, the first stage booster and the payload fairing, which are first stage booster, it's the 4th time it's flown. Payload fairing, first time it was reused.
As the second stage continues to orbit with those 60 Starlink satellites on top, stage 1 is making its way home for the 4th time. Now, stage 1 is going to execute 2 burns before hopefully it's standing there on our drone ship. The first one will be the entry burn, which occurs at about T plus 6 minutes and 23 seconds, so a little over 2 minutes from now. That's where we're going to relight 3 of those Merlin engines and slow the vehicle down such that it can safely re-enter the atmosphere. From there, the booster will coast for just under a minute and a half, and then execute what is called the landing burn. That is where we're going to reignite a single engine, that E9 engine right in the middle of the booster, slowing the vehicle down to 0 velocity, hopefully standing right there up on the drone ship.
We got something weird going on up here. I don't know if you saw that.
Meanwhile, stage 2 continues to fly nominally. We're hearing that MVAC D power is nominal and continues at full power. Stage 2 pressures. The tank pressures are nominal as well.
First and second stage are on a nominal trajectory.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that first stage booster and the fairing have pretty much done their jobs at this point. I mean, the booster, obviously, we want to see it land, but even if the booster does not land, it's
just
pretty
over
much
a minute away from
done
that
its job
entry
at this
burn.
point. 4th reflight for that booster.
Stage 1.
The payload fairing.
Meanwhile, stage 1 continues
separated.
to make its way down.
That's all you really need. And it sounds like, from the payload fairing standpoint, that they're not even going to try to. They're not going to try to recover it at all.
That MVAC engine is powering that second stage and those satellites with 250,000 pounds of thrust.
And so it sounds like they're not even going to try to recover it out of the water because there's no ships out there to go pick it up. So that's kind of a shame. Would love to see them get into like a 3rd reflight of a payload fairing. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, we're coming up in about 20 seconds on that entry burn. You should be able to see that on the left side of your screen. Meanwhile, stage 2 continues to burn nominally.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
So entry burn is supposed to be at about 6:40 on the mission clock there. So in about a little over 10
Stage 1
seconds.
entry burn.
Oh, there it actually
And as you see,
started out.
that entry burn has begun. Should go for another 5 seconds or so.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
So there's entry burn.
As you just heard, we had a successful shutdown of that entry burn. So for about another minute and a half, stage 1 is going to coast, making its way down to the drone ship. And at T
First and
plus,
second stage continue to follow a nominal trajectory.
And the landing should be at about 8:20 or so is when it was scheduled for.
and in just under a minute, that landing burn should start.
Lost the camera already. Meanwhile, stage 2 cranking away.
Stage 1 transonic.
Hopefully that camera comes back. I want to see this landing
Everything
here.
continues to be nominal on stage 2.
And don't forget the landing is usually a little bit shaky on the camera footage anyways because
And
the
in
drone
just under
ship
10
satellite
seconds, that
communication.
landing burn should start. Hopefully we'll get some nice on-vehicle video.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Well, landing burn started. You can't see it, but it
We
started.
don't have that video just yet, but that landing burn has started.
Second stage has entered terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing leg deployed.
Landing legs.
It looks like we're not going to get video on
here
the
we
way
go.
down. Oh, but we have the drone ship.
Yeah, look
And
at that. Oh,
wow.
look at that. Yeah.
The Falcon has landed for the 4th time.
That was awesome. That was good video.
These boosters are designed to be used 10 times. Let's turn it around for a 5th, guys.
Wow, that end looks pretty much dead center on the drone ship.
4th landing. That is super cool. So stage 2, I believe we have had SECO 1. We're going to enter a coast phase. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Sorry, it's very exciting over here. And, as we leave, we're going to have an animation that shows you where we are in the coast phase. But we're going to be back here at T plus 44 minutes. All right, we'll be back at T plus 44 minutes for a 2nd stage relight, followed up by payload deploy. So come on back.
All right, so they're going to throw up some music here. We're going to mute that for a little while, and we'll probably we're going to have to rewatch that landing a little bit as well, do a couple of replays. But stable video for the landing, which you don't typically see for the landing at the drone ships, because a lot of times, you know, the shaking from the engine thrust loses that satellite communication. So maybe they've done some work on that. That'd be great. Or maybe we just got lucky. I don't know. But it'd be great if they could improve that. I'm sure it's low on their priority list, but it's always nice to see that payload, the booster landing nice and smoothly like that, with a nice, smooth, stable video. So that was, there you go. Foxy Paws says that was the best landing feed they've had from a drone ship. I know, that was pretty awesome. It was dead on. It looked dead center. We ought to watch that again. Should we watch that again? We should watch that again. Let's see. Let me back it up. We'll watch that one more time. Then we can talk about that crazy liquid oxygen view that they showed us. It almost looked like it was sped up a little bit when it came down. So this is a replay of it happening, and here's that landing. Look at this, just right down. Boom, nice and soft, stable video. Picture perfect. It was awesome. Right dead center of the drone ship. That's pretty awesome. I gotta watch it one more time. I don't know, for some reason, it just kind of caught me off guard a little bit, how crystal clear that was. Look at that. That was pretty awesome. Let's see. Eagle Soars USA, how much money do they save each time the booster is recovered? I don't remember the exact dollar amounts, how much they recover, but Elon has always said that the first stage booster is the most expensive part of the entire rocket itself. So, that's how lowering or recovering that is how they're able to keep their costs super low. I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm sure somebody could probably look it up for me, but yeah, they save a ton of money by recovering the first stage boosters, because it is the most expensive part. You might think maybe fuel is the most expensive part. It's not. It's actually the first stage booster is the most expensive part there. So yeah, they definitely save a ton. Also, every time this comes up, people freak out a little bit. They wonder what's going on here. Where's that view? Come on, show it to us again. Where is it? I can see it in the preview. Okay, well, here, we'll just let it play. But there's a view. Oh, yeah, right there. That's the one. This is inside the liquid oxygen tanks here, is what this view is. And I believe this is inside the liquid oxygen tank on stage 2. So what they're looking, what you got to remember, once the second stage gets into space and you get that second stage cutoff, this could be the first stage. I'm assuming they probably have cameras in both of them. So I guess I shouldn't say this is definitely stage 2. I guess it could be either. But what they're looking at for these liquid oxygen cameras is they're trying to see where the liquid oxygen is settled. So when you're in space or you're falling in 0G, whether that's the first stage or the second stage primarily is what the biggest concern is, because the second stage, there's zero oxygen available for any sort of combustion. And once you do that first cutoff of the second stage, all that liquid oxygen just kind of floats around in the tank, and you've got to get it to the back of the tank so that it will be pushed out the back, and so you can actually use it for combustion. So a lot of times the way they do that is they fire little thrusters just briefly to kind of push all the stuff towards the back of the tank, and then ignite the engines, and they can actually get the liquid oxygen to flow where they want it to. So, but it always looks kind of trippy because it's this weird coloring here, and it kind of sloshes around, and it looks like slime or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird looking, but yeah, it's kind of cool looking. All right, let's see. We can go. Well, it's not too much to look at because this is the live map of what we're looking at here now, where stage 2 is. Drone ship is all the way back here. Payload fairings won't actually land for another half an hour. Now, so this is what I started saying a little bit earlier, is the payload fairings, normally their plan was to parachute them down. So there should likely be parachutes already installed on these, because they didn't make the decision not to land these or recover these until this morning. So so they're probably equipped with parachutes. I imagine the fairings are going to go through the whole recovery process. There's just going to be no ship at the other end to actually catch them. And so those are likely going to come back down and then parachute down. It takes them about 45 minutes after, or they don't land until about 45 minutes after launch. So they got about another 30 minutes before those payload fairings come down, likely under parachute. Let's see. This is stage 2 to check to see how it's handling after SECO 1. Yep. Let's see. I love your vids. Oh, thanks, Kai Guy. Let's see. I wonder if they're going to try to catch the fairings. So yeah, no payload fairing catch today. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but we can throw it up and mention it again. But basically, the payload fairings, they were 100% expecting to recover the payload fairings. So it was in their press kit. They put it out in the press kit and said they are attempting a payload fairing recovery today with their 2 ships, Go Miss Tree and Go Miss Chief. And when I went to bed last night, Go Miss Tree and Go Miss Chief were in position and ready to perform the payload fairing catch. And then when I woke up this morning, sometime in the overnight hours, all of a sudden Go Miss Tree and Go Miss Chief made a big 90-degree turn and headed over to up here to Morehead City, North Carolina, and they're currently in port in Morehead City, North Carolina. So they're not out there. They left. They were in position, and then about like 6 hours ago or so, they left and they went to port. And they mentioned it briefly in the webcast that it was because of some rough sea conditions. So there were rough seas that they experienced on Saturday on their way out to the recovery zone. So they did encounter some rough seas, and we've seen those ships, at least the Go Miss Tree ship, formerly Mr. Steven, when it was still Mr. Steven, when it encountered some rough seas, it actually broke some of the arms off of the ship. So those rough seas might have done something similar, hopefully a little more minor, because after the last time they broke their arms, it was like 6 months before we saw them again, or saw Mr. Steven again. I don't think we saw Mr. Steven again until it came back as Go Miss Tree. Sorry, I keep getting the two of them confused. But yeah, that's what happened this morning. So no payload fairing recovery attempt today, unfortunately. Would have been cool to see. It's still pretty cool that they just to see that drone ship landing, and that never gets old, right? Let's see, Tori. They will not catch them, but they will go for them. Yeah, see, I don't know if that's the case, if they're going to actually go for them, because the recovery ships are not out there. So the only ships that are out there are is basically I think it's Go Quest and of course I Still Love You. I don't think they have, like, a lot of times they would bring like Go Searcher out there, which is a ship that they can throw the payload fairing on the back of, or What's the other one? You got Go Navigator. That's the one I'm thinking of. So a lot of times in the past, when they only had one net, they would bring Mr. Steven out, and they would bring Go Searcher or Go Navigator out to sea. And one they would catch with Mr. Steven or load it on the back of Mr. Steven, and then the other one they would load on the back of Go Searcher or Go Navigator. But those ships aren't out there. So the only ships that are out there are, let's see, I was trying to pull it up, but I think it's just Go Quest, which is a support ship for the drone ship. That's where the crew goes while the rocket is landing. They get off of the drone ship and they hang on Go Quest. And so yeah, I don't know if they're actually going to. Yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. I don't know if they're going to actually pluck them out of the water even. So this is what we had. Basically Hawk is the tug that's pulling. Of Course I Still Love You. So Of Course I Still Love You doesn't have its own positioning reports. So generally they rely on the tug that's pulling Of Course I Still Love You to figure out where the drone ship is. So they had Hawk out there. They had Go Quest. That's the personnel support ship that all the personnel goes to while the rocket is landing, and then they go back to the drone ship. And then the other two ships were Go Mistree and Go Mischief that were there for payload fairing recovery, and they're not there anymore. So all they have is just the tugboat that's pulling Of Course I Still Love You, and Go Quest that's doing all the personnel stuff for Of Course I Still Love You. And there's not a ship out there to pick up those payload fairings. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I seem to think that maybe they're not going to get them. So anyways, let's see. How cool would it be to catch the job of boating out to the middle of the ocean to weld the landing legs to the deck? I know that'd be kind of cool. I don't think so. These actually probably won't even be welded. This will have the little Roomba, the little what's it called, the octograbber. So they used to weld them to the deck, but now they have the octograbber. That's like this little, basically like a Falcon 9 Roomba. It comes out underneath the Falcon 9, grabs onto it autonomously, and grabs onto the deck, and that's how they secure it in place, is using the octograbber now. So now they don't have to weld them to the deck anymore, unless they do something. Well, previously the Falcon Heavy center core was a little bit different, so they couldn't use the octograbber for that, so they'd have to weld that. But I think they said they've resolved that now. And then out on the West Coast, when they had Just Read the Instructions, which was previously out on the West Coast, it's not there anymore. That didn't have an octograbber Roomba thing, and so they would have to still weld them to the deck out there. Why must they be so far out? Maybe next time closer in. Well, it's all about trajectory. So, I mean, this is going in a ballistic trajectory. So, it just follow. I mean, it depends on the speed that it's going to and where it's following. You also have to remember, we didn't even mention this at the beginning, but this is the heaviest payload they've ever flown. Even heavier than the last Starlink, which was previously the heaviest payload they've ever flown. This is the heaviest payload they've ever flown. So in order to get it to the orbit they want, they got to put in a lot of energy and they got to get it moving. And you know, they don't have enough fuel to slow it down to keep it closer. So they pretty much burn all their fuel, and then after that they just let it fall. And so it basically does this like parabola arc that it travels in, and they just position the drone ship at the bottom of that. So it's like if you took a baseball and just threw it up in the air, slightly forward and threw it up in the air, they put the drone ship at the other end of it where the baseball is going to come down. So they can't really control, they can kind of control it, but it's more important for them to get the satellites into the right orbit, and then they just position the drone ship wherever it's going to come down. Roughly. I mean, there is some steering that goes on with the entry burns and the landing burns, but not enough to drastically change where the landing site is going to be. Let's see. Either way, they saved themselves some money by reusing that fairing for this launch. Yeah, definitely. And they're, just launching this reused fairing and showing that it can be done, that this payload fairing flew on another mission, landed in the water, and they just successfully used it again. I mean, just shows proof of concept, and that's a ton of money. Those payload fairings are like $6 million each. I think each half is $6 million. I'm pretty sure that's the number there. So yeah, that's a lot of money that they saved by reusing that. Let's see. Oh, they can use engines in the first core to burn back and land close by. No such engines for the fairing. Yeah, the fairings don't have any engines to maneuver. They just kind of fall, and then they use parachutes to steer. Do you know what they changed in the construction that this transport payload is heavier? They didn't really mention a whole lot on what they changed. They mentioned it a lot more in detail in the webcast, but still didn't mention anything about like weight or anything. So I'm not 100% sure what made this one a little bit heavier, because this is 60 satellites, but this one was heavier than the last 60 satellites. So not exactly sure why this one is heavier. Let's see. Checking something out. Oh, just trying to read through. I don't expect less than trying for more reusability from SpaceX at this point. Yeah, their goal pretty much is to try to reuse everything. So, all right, so we're going to take a look. I want to replay the launch here just in case you missed it. We're going to step back and take another view at it, and then once I replay it here, then I'm going to then we're going to do some giveaways. Give away a couple of random items here. So we will do that in just a minute here. Just trying to get my replay up here. Where is my replay? There it is. All right, let's see. All right, so let's replay a little bit of the launch. Probably fast forward through a little bit of this, and then let's do some giveaways, right? All right, let's do. Oh, I should probably turn the volume up so you guys can actually hear it. And okay, let's watch it again.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition, liftoff. With gratitude to our veterans today and always, go USA.
Falcon 9 is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 profit nominal.
Power and telemetry is nominal.
We are T plus 55 seconds into launch, and we've had a on-time liftoff and a beautiful view of the Falcon 9 vehicle making its way to orbit. We are coming up in about 10 seconds here on max Q. That is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will see during ascent. We should be able to hear that call out.
Vehicle's experiencing maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out for max Q. Coming up next is a rapid succession of events, starting off with main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, followed immediately by stage separation. That's the separation of the first stage from the second stage. And then seconds after will be the lighting of our second stage engine, which we call second engine startup, or SES-1. That is coming up here in about 45 seconds.
And back engine chill.
And we've got a great view this morning with some pretty clear blue skies, the Earth in the background. Now, if you're just now joining us, we are 30 seconds away from main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES-1. What you see on your screen, you should be able to see the stages separate. About 10 seconds here.
Miko.
Stage separation confirmed.
There, as you saw on your left screen, we had Miko and stage separation. On your right screen, we should see that second engine startup. And there's that second stage engine glowing bright red.
All right, then the last thing here that we're going to jump to. And just
Coming up next in about 30 seconds is fairing deployment. Now a reminder, this is...
Jump ahead one more to that landing. See that? One more time.
Stage 1 landing will deploy.
It looks like we're not going to get video on the way down. Oh, but we have the drone ship. And... wow. The Falcon has landed for the 4th time. Amazing. These boosters are designed to be used 10 times. Let's turn it around for a 5th, guys.
All right, so there we go. There's a quick little replay of what we saw this morning there. And now we want to give a couple little things away here. And I guess I had to pull up my friend the Nightbot. I don't know if now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen Nightbot in the chat here, so Nightbot might be disconnected from our account. Might have to wake up Nightbot and get it reconnected here. So the Nightbot is who chooses our winner here. So we're gonna give a couple things away here. I'm actually gonna give away 2 mission patches today. I'll show you here what we're gonna. Let me get them all out here. I'm gonna give away 2 mission patches, a button, and a sticker. Where are my stickers? Brand new ones. Where are my stickers? Maybe we won't give away a sticker. Oh, there they are. Hold on, let me get these out here. There it is. Okay, that's the one I wanted to give away. Okay, so we're going to give away a couple of things here. If you're not familiar with how this works, in order to join the giveaways, you got to head over to our YouTube channel and throw a comment in and just say hello. But don't start yet here because I got to get Nightbot turned on, and then we'll let Nightbot choose the winner. Nightbot basically just kind of automatically picks a winner for us. And let's see, we go to giveaways, we go there, we go like this, and there we go. Okay. So there. Okay, so now we're collecting, basically collecting our chat comments, and all you got to do is say hello. I don't know, tell me where you're from, tell me what you think, tell me what you're looking forward to for all the upcoming launches that we've got going on, and that will enter you to win in the giveaway here, or at least, well, it should. I'm seeing people comment, and it's not entering people in the giveaway. Why? What are you doing, Nightbot? All right, hold on. Bear with me. Technical difficulties. I mean, we could just always do this the old-fashioned way, and I can just randomly pick somebody, but it always seems better if I'm using the random giveaway bit. Okay. Hold on, we can fix this. I'm smarter than this. Come on, Nightbot. Figure this out. Wake up, Nightbot. Everybody's yelling at Nightbot. I mean, we may just have to do this the old-fashioned way here, and pick a winner, because I don't know what happened to Nightbot. ULA Parker Probe Sun Beach Ball to give away to celebrate the Mercury transit. I don't think I have any around here, so I probably can't give that away today. I should have thought about that. I didn't even think about that. So that would have been kind of cool, but yeah, I don't have one of those anywhere close by that I could get to in order to give it away. All right, well, I'm not sure what to do if Nightbot doesn't want to wake up. I mean, I suppose, let's see. Hold on. We'll do one more thing. We'll do one more thing. And if I can't figure it out, we're going to try to do, let's see. Let me just make sure this goes over here. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. We'll go like that. Here, wait, let's remove. I'm going to remove Nightbot. Oh, wait, Nightbot's back. I saw Nightbot. He just jumped. Nightbot all of a sudden jumped into the chat. Here we go. Nightbot's maybe awake. I see that. Okay. Come on, Nightbot. Okay, well, I don't know how we do this without Nightbot. All right. Well, other than that, I suppose. Well, how do we do this? It's not working. I'll show you. Here, you guys can all watch with me, and I'll show you how this works. I don't know. Oh, hey, it's working. Ah, all right. Okay, it's working now. I don't know why it took so long to come to life. Oh, wow. All right. Hello. All of a sudden, it just kept saying there were zero users available for the giveaway, and now we've got everybody in there. All right. Thank goodness. Thank you. Sebi Time Waster was over on our Discord channel giving me alternative options. So I appreciate that, Sebi. But I think we're good now. Nightbot is working. It's collecting. Close your eyes and randomly point. I know I was getting to that point. I was almost to the point where we're gonna have to just close our eyes and randomly point to somebody. So, but we got it now. Nightbot is alive and has woken up from its slumber. Even Nightbot was not ready for the live action after all of our after our lull in flights here. So, anyways, all right, it's alive. Throw your comments in. So, in case you forgot during all that madness here, gotta head over to the YouTube channel in case you're watching on Periscope or on Facebook or on Twitch. If you head over to the YouTube channel and you just say hello, tell me where you're from, tell me what you mean, or what you like. I was reading a comment. Tell me what you liked or what you're looking forward to, and Nightbot will put you in the runnings for what's up first is we're gonna do an official Overlook Horizon mission patch. We have not given one of these away yet. So these are brand new. They are available for sale at overlookhorizon.com if you want to purchase one and help support our weather balloon flights. But these are this official sewn mission patch. So, you can see all the stitching on the back, but this is the real deal. These are our real deal mission patches here. Same mission patch that's sewn to my flight suit, something like that. But we're going to give one of these away to start with. And so I should mention that in order to be eligible to win any of the giveaways, there are laws for giveaways, which seems really silly. I don't know why it's so hard to give away free stuff, but you got to be in the UK or in the US, Canada, the UK, or the European Union, and there are a couple exceptions to that. You will. Oh, thank you, Gregorius. He's already ahead of me. So giveaways are eligible: U.S., District of Columbia, Canada, United Kingdom, the European Union, except for Quebec, France, Sweden, and Italy. If you're in those locations, you're exempt. They have super strict laws and don't let us give things away. I say this all the time on the stream, but like Quebec, for example, I'm not allowed to give away free stuff unless I can give you the rules in both English and in French. I don't speak French. I don't have anybody that speaks French here that can write the rules in French. I can't articulate in French how this works, so I can't give away free stuff in Quebec because I have no way of conveying this in French to you. So those are some of the rules that are around. Some of them, like I think Italy, like you have to officially register with the government as a sweepstakes provider if you're going to give away free stuff. I don't know, it's crazy. There's all kinds of rules. So anyways, it'll be US, Canada, UK, European Union. Those are the 4 eligible areas, and then the exceptions are Quebec, France, Sweden, and Italy. Okay, can you give it away in California? Yeah, California is okay. Let's see. Hey, those are cool. I want one of those Overlook Horizon mission patches. Yeah, we've got one there. So here we go. We're gonna give one of these away. All right. I think we got a whole bunch of. Oh wow. All right. Our eligible user list went way up. So there we go. So if you're in the eligibility area, you're good. Just reply back and let me know. Give me a confirmation that you're good to go. If you're not in the eligibility area, it's unfortunate, but let us know right away and we'll roll it again. And I'm sorry. I wish I could do more, but okay. Here we go. All right, first winner up for the Overlook Horizon mission patch. Ready? 3, 2, 1, roll it. There we go. It's going to be Ron Vanderzee. Ron Vanderzee is going to get an Overlook Horizon mission patch, official mission patch here. So there we go, Ron Vanderzee. You got an Overlook Horizon mission patch coming your way. I also should say, in order for you to actually get it, you got to send me a direct message somewhere on. You can send it over on. Send me a direct message on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or overlookhorizon.com/contact us. Somewhere, some way, you got to get me your address. Just give me a direct message. Send me your address. Don't put it in the comments here. That's not safe. But send me a direct message with your address, and it's coming to you. There we go. One down. Okay. Number 2. Number 2 is we still got them. We still got test mission patches. There's not many left. We had a whole stack of them at one point, and we're coming down. We only got a couple left. But we're gonna give away a NASA test mission patch. I got Parker Solar Probe mission patches somewhere too to give away maybe next time, but I don't know where those are right now. But we're going to give away a NASA test mission patch. That's the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, big space telescope that I went down and watched launch it was like 2 years ago at this point now. But another official mission patch here. So we're going to give away another mission patch, and we'll give this one away, and we'll see who the winner of this one is. All right, so it'll be 3, 2, 1, roll it. There we go. That's going to Tom. Tom is the winner of the NASA TESS mission patch there. So there you go, Tom. Send me a direct message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, overlookhorizon.com, contact us page. One of those ways, send me a direct message, and you can be the winner of that. Well, you are the winner of that. You just have to send me where you want it sent to, and then it'll be yours. Okay, next we're going to give away this little Overlook Horizon button. What are these? The little horizontal bar buttons. Let's see, what's the best way you can see this? So there we go. We're going to give one of these guys away. They're kind of cool. I like them. I have them on like pretty much everything. On my jackets, and throw one on my shirts. But we're gonna give away one of these Overlook Horizon buttons here, and SpaceX is almost back, so we're gonna hurry this up. Tom says thanks, dude. Yeah, sure thing, Tom. Love giving away this stuff. So yes, definitely send me the message. All right, here we go. Overlook Horizon button. we will give one of these guys away here. 1, 2, 3, roll it. There we go. That's going to Metal Moss. Metal Moss got Overlook Horizon button there. That one's coming your way as well. Again, need a direct message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Overlook Horizon. Somebody already sent me a direct message because I just got notified there. So somebody's already following the instructions. So there we go. You can't just... Somebody sent me a direct message that says direct message. You can't just say direct message in your direct message. You have to actually send me your address. Otherwise, I don't know where to send it. Oh, man. All right. SpaceX is back real quick. So we're going to start deploying the satellites here. We're going to give away a Space Lobster sticker. Space Lobster sticker. 3, 2, 1, and roll it. There you go. D Zekins. Got a Space Lobster sticker coming your way to D Zekins. So again, send me that direct message, and it will be yours. And we probably missed what SpaceX had to say, but let's go back to it.
Parking orbit, so we just need a quick burn to get us there.
So they're coming up on second stage.
Waiting for that
ignition
SES-2 and SECO-2. It's going to be very quick.
Yep, just a quick couple second burn.
There it is.
Yep, start.
And second engine cutoff is complete. Waiting to hear for good orbit. Should hear that call out in a few seconds.
Nominal orbit insertion for satellite deploy.
And there is the confirmation of good orbit. Now that we're in a good orbit, we'll be coasting for the next 15 minutes or so. So we will be back around T+1 hour for the exciting payload deployment of our Starlink satellites.
All right, so that was pretty quick. So that was just the reignition of their... Oh, this is not a replay. I should have taken that. Should have taken the replay text off the screen. We don't need that anymore. But that's all right. I was going to switch back to here anyway. So, yeah, quick second stage burn there just to get it in the right orbit, and then they're going to coast for a little while, and then they're going to do this cool deployment here. We'll talk about that here in a second, but I did want to mention, Tom was asking, says, how do I claim this? So yeah, Tom, you got to send, I need a direct message from you. You can go, the easiest way is you send it over on Twitter. If you got the Twitter machine, you can go to twitter.com/OLHCN and send me a direct message on Twitter. You can also, if you follow us on Facebook, you can send me a direct message on Facebook, and you can do it on Instagram, or if you don't have any of those, you go to overlookhorizon.com/contact us, or just go to overlookhorizon.com, use the contact, and send me a direct message there. And one way or another, I just got to get your address. I don't do anything with the addresses. I literally just handwrite it on an envelope. It's not a super sophisticated operation here. Just handwrite it on an envelope, goes in the envelope, comes to your house. Done. So there we go. Let's see. And a couple people, I did get a couple direct messages already. So yeah, likely. Yeah, I saw metal moss. Got yours. Got a couple. Yeah, so we're in good shape here. Oh, there we go. Sebi giving us an update on the Mercury transit. Mercury transit is more than halfway over the sun now. So in case you got clear skies, which I do not, because we have a snowstorm going on right now. In case you have clear skies, then definitely get out there and check. Oh, hello. Definitely get out there and check that Mercury transit and make sure you're doing it, safely with some protective glasses, or even if you're going to use a camera, make sure you have a solar filter on the camera or something like that. So, but for me, I'm not going to get a view of this because for us, we're experiencing snow here. It looks like this outside right now. This is not much right now, just a little dusting, but it'll get we're supposed to get 6 to 9 inches. Right now it's relatively clear, but roads are still in good shape. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's what it looks like here in New York right now. I was kind of hoping the winter would hold off just for a little bit before we got to that point, but yeah. I do want to say, I keep forgetting to mention it, but I should say today is Veterans Day here in the United States. I think a lot of countries, including Canada, I think Canada has like a day of remembrance today. But I do want to say thank you to all the veterans. In case there are any veterans watching, thank you for all that you do for our country. And so thank you to everybody out there that has military service. I don't want to let the day go by without actually saying that, especially because I do think it is an important thing to acknowledge for the day. So, okay, looks like the NFL Green Bay game. Yeah, it's worse here. We have snow staying on the roads. Yeah, if you are like west of us right now, you're probably getting the heavy stuff because we got the light stuff right now. We're going to be getting the heavy stuff soon. So I think it's not supposed to be till this afternoon, but it'll be coming. Aiden wants to know if we have any more pins. I do have some more pins. I'm very limited on the pins, so I'm kind of cautious about giving them out because I only have like 3 left. But maybe the next stream we might consider that. We kind of save those for special occasions a little bit because I can't get more of those. What other giveaway? I got so many things that we can give away for future streams, but see, we need the big thing is I don't want to give away too much stuff all at once for 2 reasons. One, it's not quite as special anymore if we're giving away all kinds of stuff. And 2, then it'd be a lot of work for me to try to mail all these things out. It's already a lot of work to try to mail out these 4 things. It doesn't sound like a lot of work, but trying to make sure that I don't forget and actually get them out accurately is sometimes challenging. Can you buy them? The pins you can't. The pins that I have, you cannot buy. I'm not sure if you're talking about the pins or the buttons. The buttons, if you want one of these buttons, anything that's Overlook Horizon branded, any of our stuff, you can buy on our website. So if you're talking about like these buttons, these you can buy on our website. They're not that expensive, and they help support our mission. They help make sure that I can do live streams like this and upgrade our equipment and run our weather balloon flights and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, any of the Overlook Horizon stuff you can purchase, including the Overlook Horizon patch, the Overlook Horizon, the Space Lobster stickers, we got all kinds of stuff. Yeah, overlookhorizon.com. You can purchase those. Okay, so what I do want to talk about before SpaceX comes back is the way that they actually deploy these satellites. Oh, and Tom, I did get your direct message, so thanks, Tom. So the way they're going to deploy these satellites, I don't know if I have a way to animate this. Should have like prepared something in Kerbal Space Program or something. Would have been kind of cool, but basically, the way they deploy these is kind of in motion. They, let's see, is there anything I can demonstrate this with? I don't think I have anything that I can demonstrate this with. Maybe somebody's got an animation. Let's see. Does anybody know of an animation? Because I do want to talk about how they actually deploy these, because it's kind of cool the way they do this. And it doesn't come across as cool when you watch it on video. So the deployment should look. This is kind of a low quality version of this, but if we switch over here, this is the last Starlink deployment. So this is not the current one that we're seeing today. And they, from the onboard camera, it just kind of looks like this. Doesn't really look like anything special. But the interesting thing is that the vehicle is actually kind of intentionally tumbling end over end. And so they're like, very minor, but they are like flinging the satellites off of the end of the upper stage. So instead of the upper stage just being stable and they just push them off the end like they do with most of the satellites, sometimes they implement a roll and push them off or things like that, but it's hard to see with this onboard camera. But these Starlink satellites, in order to space them out, like instead of deploying one and then deploying another and then another, they do all 60 at once, and they fling the whole thing over the top so that the speed at which they are deploying varies just a tiny little bit based on how far they are away from the center of the center of gravity there when they fling them around. So it's a pretty cool deployment method. I really wish I had an animation. I was going to try to see if I could find one. I should have thought of this beforehand, but I really wish we had an animation that would show that a little more clearly. Maybe they'll show it in the webcast. That would be pretty cool, but I don't know if they actually will. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Are there any lobster patches? I don't have a lobster patch. I considered making a space lobster patch, but I don't know. We got to come up with a use for the space lobster. Again, we obviously had our big space lobster flight that was Overlook Horizon 15. But since then, the space lobster has not had a big prominent role for us. So we got to come up with another role for the space lobster. Obviously, the original space lobster is actually gone on to greener pastures from our space lobster auction. The space lobster auction saw the space lobster went off to another home. So throw a deck of cards in the air to demonstrate. That'd be kind of, well, I probably would be kind of cool, but I don't know if my camera will actually get that because my camera is pretty limited. You can see where it cuts off my hand above my head. There's not a lot of space here in my box. Somebody asked if we had any upcoming weather balloon launches planned. We don't generally fly in the wintertime because the winds are way too strong. It's not that we can't fly, it's just that it's much harder to fly in the wintertime. The winds are really strong, and it means that we'd have to go very far downrange to go pick them up, which just makes recovery a lot harder because then we have to bring everything but the kitchen sink in the car to go recover them. So we probably won't fly another weather balloon flight until like March, April time frame. So that'll be our next weather balloon flight. So this is pretty much off season for us now. Kenneth wants to know, where are you out of? Where are you stationed? We're in just outside of Rochester, New York. That's where we are. Nice snowy Rochester, New York here today. Somebody just said because of tariffs on Periscope. I don't know what that means, because of tariffs, but okay, tariffs. Got it. Let's see. I was still looking for an animation of how these Starlink satellites, but we only got like 3 minutes until SpaceX comes back. Let's see. Just trying to see if we had. Actually, you know who? I think I know an animation here. Maybe we can show it real quick. Let's see. Oh, Kenneth Clark he was setting me up. It was a trick question. I was leading you on. Kenneth is also from Canandaigua. There you go. Well, that's technically where I am from. I am in Canandaigua. So most of the time I can't say Canandaigua because unless you're from Canandaigua, you go, huh? What is that? Most people can't. If they read Canandaigua, they can't say Canandaigua. So well, good. I'm glad to see we have a local here hanging out with us. So appreciate it there, Kenneth. Did you go to Area 51 when you were in Nevada? I did not go to Area 51. I was very close to Area 51, but we did not actually go to Area 51. We were actually, we were only like, at one point where we met the state troopers when we were there, we were only like a couple miles from the south access road to get to Area 51. So So it wasn't very. We're not very far away, and so yeah, we were pretty close. And I was there like 2 days after the whole Storm Area 51 event, which was kind of cool. So, so yeah, we were very close to Area 51. What do we got? We got 1 minute until SpaceX is back. I can't find animation. Miss K. Wait, I'm local too. I know you're local. You're my mother. Let's see. Can we see the new satellites for me? There are animations. I probably have one on my Starlink playlist all set to public. Yeah, if somebody knows an animation on the Starlink deployment, I would love to show that, but I can't find one. I just wanted to show the way it deploys, but we'll see if we can find it. I'll tweet one out afterwards. Let's see. I'll tweet one out afterwards, so make sure you follow the Twitter account. We don't know the orbit prediction. We don't know the orbit prediction yet. This is for. Can we see the near? Yeah. So Flight Club. I mentioned this before. I wonder if we can pull it up here now. Sometimes my computer, so my live streaming software, takes a lot of resources. Oh, hey, they're back. Switch over here so we can hear.
After deployment, the satellites will appear to be kind of clumped together, but that's totally normal. As you can probably imagine, 60 separate separation systems is super inefficient. It adds mass, it adds complexity, and therefore it adds cost. Instead, we deploy them all at once, allowing them to slowly disperse from one another, and to do so without the use of complex mechanisms. They might even bump into one another, which, if that happens, is totally okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The satellites were designed with this possibility in mind. All right, we lost the video just there, but let's listen in and see if we have any word on the deployment.
Starlink tension rod release confirmed.
And as you just heard, we have confirmation that the tension rods have been released. Let's see if we can get some video of that. That would be really awesome. There we go.
There they go. And they're off.
Now,
it's kind of a different
as
view.
they make their way off, next they'll start to slowly drift apart and then deploy their singular solar array pointed at the sun to begin charging their batteries. And over the course of the coming weeks, the satellites will use their onboard ion propulsion systems to raise their orbit to 550 kilometers, align into their orbital planes, and properly space themselves out to providing internet coverage on Earth. And with that brings us to the end of our webcast for today. So to recap, we had a successful fourth launch of a booster and a successful landing of that same booster. We reflew a fairing successfully for the first time. Both of those things are pretty cool, but also cool, you just saw we deployed 60 more Starlink satellites. This puts us one step closer to being able to offer Starlink internet service to customers across the globe, including people in rural and hard-to-reach places who have struggled for access to high-speed internet.
Thank you to the 45th Space Wing for range safety, the FAA for licensing today's launch, as well as the FCC for licensing our first operational Starlink satellites. We'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in, and again, our deepest gratitude to all of our veterans, both here at SpaceX and across the country. Follow our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. And until next time, I hope you all have a great morning just like we did.
Okay, sorry, I was a little distracted. I was still looking to see if I could find an animation of the way that deployment worked, and I was also looking to see if I could figure out where the where the first satellite passes were going to be, but there's a couple different places that you can check if you want to see where these satellites are going to be. Again, you can check flightclub.io. You can also check, somebody mentioned another one that I saw, satflare.com. I think that's another one that I've seen. I don't personally use that one. And then I use the app called ISS Detector, which is good for a whole bunch of different satellites that you can see passing overhead, including the International Space Station. It's also got some other things. I'm not affiliated with them. I just happen to like it. So yeah, check that out, and then see if you can see the train of satellites passing overhead. That would be pretty. It's pretty cool to see. It's always exciting if you're able to see the satellites passing overhead, especially if you're not in the area and you see it launch and you're just kind of watching it on a screen and you're like, yeah, this thing happened today. But then you can go outside and you can actually see it passing overhead. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. I always like that. So, yep. Heat Shield says, keep in mind they have their own propulsion to deorbit. They're literally going to clean themselves up after they're done. Yep, that's definitely pretty awesome. They're good space. What do I want to say there? They're very responsible space satellite providers, and they're going to clean themselves up when they're done. That's not the word I was looking for, but drawing a blank. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I think we're pretty much in good shape there. So we did some giveaways. I got a bunch of direct messages from people already. So if you didn't send me a direct message, we did 4 giveaways earlier today, and we'll have some more. But we're probably going to wrap up here, I think. If you want to continue the conversation later, you can join our Discord channel and hang out with us. There should be a link in the YouTube description below. You can join the Discord channel, continue the conversation with some of the rest of us space fans here for after the show as well. If you're ever interested in helping script some of our scripted videos or getting early access to the scripted videos that we put out, you can also join our Patreon page, where I'm going to try to do a little more exclusive behind-the-scenes access on the Patreon side. I may even start doing, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I always want to do some like Kerbal streams and things like that, but I just run out of time. But we're going to try to do some more exclusive stuff on the Patreon side for Patreon supporters as well. We got a couple of Patreon supporters here now that help out with proofreading some of the scripts and getting early access and kind of getting their early feedback to some of the videos before we put them out. So yeah, if you do want to support the channel and you like that kind of stuff, then definitely head over to patreon.com/overlookhorizon, and you can support us on Patreon, and we will and definitely appreciate it, and you get some exclusive access. If there's any Patreon supporters here now, or anybody that's on the fence about joining Patreon, if there's something you want to see from me for behind-the-scenes access or some more exclusivity, definitely let me know. I'm open to it for sure. So anyways, let me know. Gregorius said he tried to go to flightclub.com. It sells sneakers. Yeah, it's not flightclub.com. It's flightclub.io. A little bit confusing, but yeah, flightclub.io is the website that I was talking about. Yep, and I think is this a loop? Is what a loop? Am I a loop? Are you? Can you say hi? Kai Guy, I already said hi. I said, you missed it. I said hi. I said it early. I appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback. Thanks, Kai Guy. We'll say it one more time. I do appreciate it. All right, I think we're going to wrap up here for today. We've been going for a little while. To wrap it up, we saw a successful launch today for SpaceX. It was a successful 4th relaunch for a booster, which is crazy. Reused payload fairing, first time ever. Landed on the drone ship, again, 4th time for this booster. Landing and being recovered. Can you replay the deployment? I suppose so, but then you guys are going to make fun of me because I already started my goodbyes. Yeah, we can replay the deployment here real quick. There was not much there. I don't know. I might have to refresh this page because once they end their stream, then I can't fast forward and rewind anymore. But here, I think we can get to it here. All right, so while I let's see, I'll switch it over to here. All right, so while I finish and wrap up and say my last little bits, so, oh yeah, there you go. So there's the deployment of the 60 satellites. Again, heading out there. They will, hopefully you guys can see them. Definitely get a chance. I would definitely encourage you to try to find one of these satellite tracking apps, whether it's Flight Club or ISS Detector or SatFlare, or there's a whole bunch of different options. Try to find one of them and see if you can see these satellites go by. They're much more visible when they're closer together and when they're lower in their orbit. So they will spend the next couple of weeks raising their orbit. I think actually they spend the first like 60 days in a lower orbit doing their checkouts, and then they'll raise their orbits. But they will be spacing out over the next couple of weeks, and they're much easier to see when they're close together. So if you can see them in the next 2, 3, 4 days, that will be, it's much more impressive and more unique when you see them, because it's 60 satellites like all right next to each other, just across the sky together, which is crazy to see. So if you can see it, find one of these apps, try to see it. They're pretty cool. Hopefully be easier to see. I know it's for us in the northern hemisphere, it's getting to be winter time, and so it means a lot more clouds, at least for me. So it's harder to see, but if you can do it, try to see it. It's a pretty unique sight. Anyway, so yeah, successful launch today for all of our good stuff. Heaviest payload ever, 4th reflight, reflown payload fairing, first time ever. And do we miss anything? I think we got it all. Flightclub.io. Yep, there we go. Gregorius giving that out. ISS tracker. Yeah, is that the one that I use? ISS Detector is what I use. ISS Detector is the app that here, I'll throw it on the screen so you guys can see it before I finally, oh, where did that go? I lost there it is. I'll give these guys a plug because I like their app. This is what I use, the ISS Detector. See the space station. It's actually, it's called the ISS Detector, but they have, there's all kinds of satellites and stuff like that in there as well. So that's it's not just for the space station. It does tell you where the space station is and when that's going to be overhead, but it's also got all kinds of satellites. You can see it kind of in this screenshot here. Show you, when you can see iridium flares and, obviously the space station, but they had the Starlink on there as well. And the cool thing is it just tells you like where to point your phone. You're like, oh, it's there. That's where it should be. And then you kind of just follow it like this, and then eventually you can see it. So it's a pretty cool app. So I'll give them a plug for that. So that's the ISS Detector that I use. How do I get out of this? There we go. Okay. Okay, right? Did we miss anything? Make up your mind. ISS, I don't see Starlink sat. It may not, it took like a couple of hours last time to show up, so it might not be in there yet. The last time that it went up, it took like a couple hours before it showed up for me. It was in, what was it in? I want to say it was in like famous objects, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it was in. Actually, I see it now. It's under famous objects. I don't know if I can show you this, but there's my app. You go to the settings. You go to famous objects. You got to turn famous objects on, and then there's this option here at the bottom says select satellites. You can select satellites and then scroll down the list. And then they've got Starlink options here. So right now they've got the Starlink Leader, that's from the first one, and then they got Starlink Mission 2. I'm pretty sure that's this one right now. Right now it's just a prediction, but it should be updated shortly. So there, that's how you use the ISS detector if you want to find the Starlink satellites. And hopefully that should be updated here shortly. The app is pretty good for updating and getting you new information pretty quickly. So hopefully that should be updated soon. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? I know we've been trying to wrap up here for a little while, but I like the questions. You can keep them coming if you have any. But other than that, we're probably going to wrap up and say goodbye, because now I got to go to regular work, because even though it is a holiday, I still have to work today. So I got to go. I got stuff to do. Not that I don't like hanging out with you guys, but Tori, you're great. Well, thank you, Gordon. I appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Hopefully it will not be as long in between live streams next time. We should hopefully have some more coming up. We do have got some exciting things happening coming up here. We've got the Boeing uncrewed flight test coming up in December. We've got in-flight aborts coming up for SpaceX and the Crew Dragon. That'll be a really exciting one. I'm super excited for in-flight aborts because that's we're probably going to see the Falcon 9 just destroy itself, which would be kind of cool. But we've got in-flight aborts coming up, and then obviously we got crewed missions coming up in 2020. So exciting times coming up shortly, and then we've got a lot more of these Starlink satellites being launched over the next couple of weeks. So we've got, they wanted to try to get 4 in before the end of the year. I think this one came a little bit later than they were expecting. This one that we watched today was actually supposed to happen in October. So it might just be 1, maybe 2 more before the end of the year. So they'd get 3 in before the end of the year. I think that would be kind of a stretch. I bet we get 1 more in before the end of the year, 1 more Starlink launch. And then we have the Crew Dragon in-flight abort. We've got Boeing's uncrewed flight test, kind of like Demo 1 for SpaceX. That's coming up in December. And then crewed missions, right? So, exciting times. All right, Roger says, enjoy your snow. It's the reason I moved from Fulton, New York to Maryland. Oh, I thought you said it was the reason you moved to Fulton, New York. I thought you loved the snow, but it sounds like just the opposite. Yeah, so I'll be dealing with snow for the rest of the day here today. I think, I forget who said it. Maybe it was Sebi said that he loved the snow and wanted to see some snow pictures. So, yeah, maybe I'll post some pictures of me struggling with the snow later today as we get about 9 inches of snow expected here for me. I don't know what that is in metric. Somebody have to convert that to metric for me. So, all right. Well, I will. I'll have some more updates on the Twitter machine, so check it out afterwards. Make sure you like the video if you like this kind of content. It lets me know that you're having fun along with me, just so it's not just me having fun. So like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. We got some more videos coming out, scripted videos, and some more live videos like this. And other than that, I will see you guys all next time. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. This was a lot of fun. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.